Without Ceedee Lamb, the Cowboys wide receiver room goes back to looking below average, I would say. I mean, good thing they traded for George Pickens, but also it kind of feels like they're back to square one with where they were before the trade. You have a guy that you think or know can be a wide receiver one in Pickens, but now other guys have to step up. The Cowboys just have to do something different. They didn't want Tolbert as their number two then, and now they're going to have to get creative. I assume they're not just going to say, okay, Tolbert, you are wide receiver two, we're going to roll with this, because I just don't think it's going to work. And I'm not hating on Tolbert. I've talked about him quite a bit here on the internet. I don't have anything against him, but it's just this offense needs to be explosive, and I've kind of lost hope on the defensive side of the ball. I'm trying to get creative here, figure out ways to help the offense, because so far this season, Tolbert hasn't been very good. Amongst qualified pass catchers for the Cowboys, which is 7 players, through the first 3 weeks of the season, Jalen Tolbert ranks 7th in catch percentage, 7th in catch rate over expected, 7th in receiving EPA, 7th in yards after catch, 5th in yards after catch over expected, 5th in yards per reception, and 6th in receiving yards. I just can't understand why he's on the field, especially pre-injury to Ceedee Lamb. And this article on the LandryHat.com, you're here on the Landry Hat YouTube channel, so if you could go down there, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, let people know that we're here making content for all of you guys. Stay up to date on your Cowboys news by hitting that subscribe button. Now, this article was talking about Tolbert's missed block in the game against the Bears that ultimately caused the Javonte Williams fumble. I'm not going to say it's his fault. Williams has to hold on to the ball, but it's just a common theme that we've seen a lot of missed blocks from him lately. It happened in week 1 against the Eagles. He's supposed to be blocking on a little wide receiver screen to, I believe it was Turpin. Completely misses the block. Doesn't even really get a hand on the guy, and it's a tackle for loss. And if you're not going to be productive or a weapon in the passing game or really contribute blocking either, I can't understand why you keep putting that guy out there on the field. So we got to do something different at wide receiver with Turpin, Tolbert, Brevin Spann-Ford, Ryan Flournoy. Something's got to give. Let's talk about a couple of options and how they can kind of supplement some explosive plays until your number one gets back with Lamb, and then you're rocking and rolling again with Lamb and Pickens. Flournoy brings a blocking element along with a stronger frame, just a more explosive player. He's bigger, he's stronger. He showed us in the preseason that he is willing to block on the outside. That's kind of what you would want him to show if you put him in the game early on, that he can be a contributor, because you might be trying to throw a lot of wide receiver screens, have blockers in front, maybe try to get Pickens the ball on the outside, see if he can do some stuff after the catch. He's also a really good receiver. He has great body control. He tested as a really explosive athlete. He can go up and get it. He can beat guys at the catch point. He's strong. He has that jump ball element to his game, can box defenders out, isn't easily bumped off of his route by contact. And I mentioned him first because when you talk about replacing Tolbert and not getting him as many targets and snaps, Flournoy is most likely the replacement because he can play on the outside. You can't really say Javonte Turpin in the same way. Like, Turpin's going to get a lot more snaps now that Ceedee's gone, but a majority of those are coming from the slot. We're trying to find that guy opposite of George Pickens. But I really like the Flournoy idea. In college, he was really explosive after the catch. I think we saw some of that during training camp and the preseason. He can break tackles, something that I really haven't seen Tolbert do a lot of. Just that overall physicality, both in the receiving game and being able to block, is enough for me to say put him out there on the field. I think I would feel better if it's Pickens, Flournoy, and Turpin. The thing with Turpin is you have to get him involved. You have to take advantage of the mismatches that you can scheme up. He's super quick. We've seen that on punt return, kick return stuff. We've seen it on jet sweeps. Last year, he took a Cooper Rush slant ball to the house against the Texans. Like, Turpin has an explosive factor that you are completely missing on offense right now. Sure, Pickens can create explosive plays with jump balls down the field vertically, but it's not going to work the same way that it would good with Turpin. That's why I am going to vouch for him getting more and more opportunities now that Lamb's gone. I don't know if the coaching staff trust him to get a ton of targets in a game, but at this point, I feel like you have no other choice. I'll take a couple of drops just to get a couple more explosive plays. We even saw it against the Bears. I think he had the longest pass play of the day for the Cowboys. Turpin is actually leading this team in qualified receivers with the most average separation when targeted. He has doubled every single receiver on this team. He's at 5.3. Lamb is at like 2.3. Pickens is at 2.3. Tolbert is at like 2.4. The guy can get open, and I want to see him become more of a focal point until Lamb gets back, and then maybe you kind of figure it out. If he proves that he can handle the targets, that's just another weapon for your offense. Let him run those deep posts, swing passes, get him the ball on end arounds. Just do something. They really, really need that explosive element now that Lamb's gone, because defenses are going to be keying in on George Pickens. So at some point, one guy is going to have to step up. Maybe that's Jake Ferguson. Maybe you start running more 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends, and then the other guy that I'm going to mention is Brevin Spann-Ford. We saw him make that play in the Bears game. Now, I know it didn't count, and it came from Milton, but just the explosiveness that he showed from the tight end position was pretty intriguing. I know he's an undrafted free agent. He's only in his second year. He hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities up to this point. At some point, you got to put the guy out there and have faith that he's going to make plays. We haven't seen a ton of plays made from the tight end position this year. I am a really big Jake Ferguson fan, a believer, if you will, but he doesn't bring that spark that you really, really need. So maybe getting two tight ends on the field, having a couple opportunities for Brevin Spann-Ford on maybe some bootleg stuff, have him running underneath drag route to get the ball in his hands, because I think he offers some stuff after the catch. That's what we're really, really missing in this offense. Lamb is been that guy for the past 4 years. And without him, I think Turpin can do that. I think Flournoy can do that, and Brevin Spann-Ford. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do it to that extent, but if you can get them involved, I think they can make plays for you and kind of help facilitate what you've lost with Lamb. Like I said, no hate to Jalen Tolbert. Sure, he's a great person. I'm not trying to be a hater or anything. Based on the metrics and what I've watched when watching the All-22, I've watched all 3 games back, Tolbert hasn't earned wide receiver 2 reps. Even with Ceedee out, you need more than a guy that you just trust to run the right route or that your quarterback likes. You need some playmakers, right? Flournoy gives you that physical, aggressive target with explosive upside, breaking tackles after the catch, maybe some red zone stuff as well, another option there. Turpin gives you that speed that you're desperately missing, the unpredictability, what you can do with him, and just matchup nightmares. And then Brevin Spann-Ford is kind of like a mystery box in terms of what you should expect from him as a pass catcher. I know he wasn't that great coming out of college, but I mean, that was almost 2 years ago at this point. See what you have in all 3 of those guys, and then maybe you'll get your wide receiver 1 back sooner rather than later. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching here on the Landry Hat. If you could, head down there and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton. It would mean a lot. Also, check out my longer podcast videos, pregame stuff, postgame stuff, my reaction, my predictions, all of that. You can listen to that anywhere that you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The Landry Hat podcast is on there. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you back later this week with another podcast and another breakdown video. Bye.